So I went to him and said, at that time, I had DD, I had brand C4E, I had P3, and I had a couple of blog writing stints I was doing, right? And it was at that time, everything was new. DD was new, Femela was new, the blog bits were new, some bits on P3 were new, some bits on C4E were new. So I said, I cannot start juggling four things. And I don't, and of course, there's so much of like, it's not just the doing bit, right? It's also with P3 you have to do a lot of the business development thing. With C4E you have to do a lot of the talk, like don't have to do, but end up doing a lot of the talking to people thing. And I just went up to him and I complained. I'm like, nahi ho raha hai. Like I can't do everything all at once. So I need like help and solution to this. So he guided me to this article, right? And I have notes. Wait. So basically, you can think of this article as being divided into like four parts, right? The first part is where he just explains the schedule. So what happens, what he says is that essentially in work life you will run on two kinds of schedules. One is the doing schedule and one is the manager schedule, right? Is think of it as probably either getting things done or the meeting schedule, right? Like in our lives, at least the way I see it, that's the better way to put it. It's a meeting people schedule and the doing work schedule, right? So that's the manager schedule. Manager schedule mein kya hota hai, and he explains this, right? I'm just summarizing and just going through this. Manager schedule mein basically, since you're meeting people and you're not really necessarily doing things, you can just divide up your days into like small bits, half an hour also, 15 minutes also. You can meet four people in an hour and not feel like you've broken some sort of chain of thought, right? Because it's just uh, that's just how it works. Meeting people works. But if you're on a maker schedule, then you want bigger chunks of time to work. You can't do 15 minutes of work and then stop and then switch to something else or meet another person. You need long hours, uninterrupted hours, which I thought was very crucial because I don't know, I live at home and I can never have uninterrupted hours of any kind. I mean, I don't know if you relate to it, but it, that peaceful,
Understood.
right?
Yeah.
Aditya, I mean, maybe you do, but your interruptions may be different. They may not be as compulsory, but someone may come knocking, someone may say, okay, let's go out, someone may say, it's a mess. Your life is governed by a lot of these timings that the college sets.
Right.
So, basically, what he says, what Paul Graham says is that इंडिविजुअली दी स्केड्यूल्स आर फाइन. कुछ लोग मैनेजर होते हैं या एंड कुछ लोग मेकर होते हैं. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज व्हेन इट कोलाइड्स, व्हेन यू आर ऑन अ मेकर स्केड्यूल, व्हेन यू वांट टू डू थिंग्स बट एक्सटर्नल फोर्सेस सच एज अ मैनेजर will impose on your time. जैसे 10:30 को for instance you want to do work but you have a meeting that is non-negotiable for C3, right? 7:30 you may want to work but there is a growth session. It's planned and you can work around it, huh?
By the way, if I keep looking in my phone, it's because I'm taking notes. I'm very respectful, but so like just keeping
Awesome.
that out there.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I didn't suspect it otherwise.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he says that there's a maker schedule and manager schedule, and the problem is when the two collide. Most makers have to listen to some bit of the manager schedule. Managers necessarily don't have to go into the maker world, right? Um, Now, in the second part, he says how he's tackled with it, right? Now, it is a problem. Cognitively, you cannot context switch very well. And he, in this essay, he gives some solutions which he's used, right? One is that you keep all your maker hours intentionally in a time that you know you will not be disturbed. So he used to work from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. because he knows everyone's asleep. No one's going to disturb me. No family, nothing, right? And I'm just contextualizing it. He doesn't use like in his world, everything is very professional, everything is very restricted to emails. But like when you apply it, it doesn't work that way, right? There's so many other personal distractions that creep into work. So he speaks about how he used to keep just one half of the day that he knew there were going to be no distractions and use it for maker time, and everything else was fluid, right? If he got a chunk of time, he would work. If he didn't, then he would just meet people and it would not have affected his planning. And a second way he did was at Y Combinator, right? How they worked was because they said that even the founders, even the managers were essentially maker people. They were on maker schedule, and which was a very unique thing, he said, because not often that happens. They would slot meetings in some days, like Thursday, Friday, I just meet people, and Monday to Wednesday, no meetings, right? And they had control over that. Uh, and that's the two solutions that worked for him, right? But he said like there's a third kind of meeting which no one can ever really plan for, and that's the speculative meeting, the brainstorm meeting, chal bakchodi karte hain meeting, right? Those are very important because they can mean opportunity, they can mean ideas, they can mean a way forward, but they are also kind of ambush. So if this doesn't apply to us a lot because we are remote, but if you were in an office and a colleague just said, hey, let's go get a coffee, I want to talk to you about something, or someone randomly came up to you at WeWork or a co-working space like I do, and this used to happen with me a lot. They would come to say, and hey, let's grab a coffee, I have this LinkedIn thing I want to talk to you about, or I have this content thing I want to talk to you about, right? uh, and you don't know what to do. If you say no, they may feel bad, and it may be a lost opportunity. If you say yes, your day is gone for a toss because you didn't account for, and that's never 15 minutes, right? It always becomes half an hour, 1 hour. Like it's used, like that spillover is very, very easy. And even you kind of get into the zone. So that speculative meeting is the catch, he says, in the end, right? It's where something very, it's like almost like an ambush where you, someone saying you want to grab a coffee becomes a meeting which you didn't intend for, and it's very costly on the makers only. So makers and doers are doing time is really at a loss because managers don't care. So his end is not so much as a solution, but it's a plea that says I hope managers realize this when they work with their maker crowd, right? Some, they have to acknowledge this when they work with certain set of employees whom they know would be better off or value their working time more than a meeting time. So like imposing meetings may not be the best thing always, etc., right? So that's the kind of thought of this. Now obviously, I mean, we have time because it's three of us. So A, I want to start with like, have you all noticed this happening to you, and how have you tackled it? Like knowing that you have these, you know, that you have like a lot of execution work to do, and you have a lot of like brainstorm work to do, and you have only so much time and energy. How do you tackle that?
So let me start. So I have two kinds of work. Actually, I have three kinds of work as of my priorities. One is anytime I have to do execution work like writing or any system formation, any process formation. That is basically the time जहाँ मुझे अपना undivided attention चाहिए. I need my music to play and for no one to disturb me. And second type of work is when I'm talking with my clients, or for example, this is also the second type of work for me. This is a meeting where I'm learning something. And third is the meeting new people. So since I am in a city far away from the happening crowd, I tend to do a lot of online meetings to meet new people. I tend to do coffee chats, let's sit and talk. ऐसे वाले meetings बहुत सारे मैं करती हूँ. तो एक पॉइंट पे व्हाट यूज्ड टू हैपन इज कि ये नए लोगों से मिलने के कारण काम तो आ रहा था, बट आई कुडंट डू द एग्जीक्यूशन पार्ट बिकॉज भाई टाइम नहीं था. वेयर इज द टाइम टू एग्जीक्यूट दिस? एंड देन वन ऑफ माय गुड फ्रेंड्स विक्रा, ही जस्ट मेंशनड इन a general catch up meeting we were doing, in which I said I'm talking to a lot of new people these days. So he said, I hope you're talking to only one new person each day. And I said, I am not, but why do you say that? And his response was, he's like, तुम एक नए इंसान को मिल रहे हो. Think of it as you're meeting a new perspective lifelong friend. And why you can't treat that meeting as a, हाँ ये हो गया चलो अगला आओ, हाँ ये हो गया अगला आओ. बोले you're not taking interviews, you're not doing something which is very like ठीक है हाँ तू हो गया तू अब जा, अब दूसरा आ गया तू बैठ. He's like, you are intentionally making lifelong friends slash business partners slash just people to work with, people to stay in life with. So you should always one prioritize उस इंसान को उस दिन के लिए. बोले ठीक है आप एक इंसान को एक हफ्ता नहीं दे सकते, एक महीना नहीं दे सकते, but you can dedicate one new person a day. And then he said a little things to do about it is, he's like, first of all, when you're meeting a new person, do a little bit of research. They'll feel good that you came prepared about them. Two,
Yeah.
when you're meeting them, don't try to be like 25 minute के लिए मिलेंगे. Try
Yeah.
to have deeper conversations. And three is, when you leave the meeting, try to keep your notes down. और ये बात SG भी बोलते हैं that he notes down everything that he remembers from talking to a new person. So he said that you have to prioritize these new people and at least give each of them a day. And I that clicked बहुत जल्दी. तो I made it a point that if I'm meeting a new person, I only meet one person a day. Even like if अगर चार लोग बोलते हैं कि I'm free today, can we have a coffee chat? I always try to schedule one person one day.
Hmm.
That is the third part. Second part, sometimes the meeting with the clients and the working with the clients collide. So I've kept made it very clear with my anyone who I work with that I prefer voice notes over meetings. Although I crave that human attention, but I know कि अगर मैं उसके spiral में जाती जाऊंगी तो I lose on the actual work. और जब तक मैं किसी सामने वाले को quality deliver नहीं कर पाऊंगी, कोई मतलब नहीं है मैं उनसे 4 घंटे भी बैठ के मीटिंग पे बात करती रहूं. तो so I made it to a point, and this is something I tweeted also yesterday, that if I can't be friends with you, I won't do business with you. So what I've done is any work related talk to my work people, I try to have it mostly either over WhatsApp, over voice notes, or even normal phone calls. And then I schedule with them no agenda meetings कि जब
Hmm.
हम बैठ के और फालतू का चिल कर सकें. Where obviously the work thing seeps in here and there, but that is still free on my mind कि ठीक है ये मेरे काम से चीज उधर नहीं लेके जा रहा है. This is my friendship time. This is my relationship connection time. And then in the rest of the time, I have started working. And I've also made it to a point to clear out a few chunks of the day, like at night from 10 to 12 to 1, where I sit and work. And like another thing that I was noticing is I was very tired through. This is a meta thing, but like relatedly, okay, I couldn't focus on the execution part because I was very tired the whole day. So I've tried finding fixes for my tiredness. I've tried to I've started exercise properly because I've realized exercise doesn't tire you. It actually gives you energy to do work later.
Yep.
And I've started to drink a lot of water, eat relatively healthier, eat in smaller chunks of time, do intermittent fasting and everything. So yeah, so we stay hydrated. So I think these are a few things that have helped. But I still think that I'm still learning. I'm still haven't perfected it. काफी बार चीजें ऊपर नीचे जाती है because as Prakriti said, a lot of things in my life are yet governed by a institution that I have no say in. That is my college. मेरा खाना कब मिलता है, मैं क्लास कब जाती हूँ, मेरा कब
Yeah.
असाइनमेंट का डेडलाइन है. These are the things that I
For
can't
you,
control any day.
for you, execution time is also like actual study time, right? It's not just
Hmm.
work. And I think that was one
Hmm.
thing that, like, that's the idea that it's a doing thing and a figuring out, what to do thing. So the doing
Exactly.
includes study. It includes, you live alone, so maybe managing, if people live alone, then cooking is part of that doing bit, right? So all of this becomes like execution stuff you cannot just like outsource. You can order food, but that's still, I mean, that's a solution, but it's not. The problem is that you have like a ton of things. So you have studies also, and that should definitely go in your doing bit, right? If you want long hours of
Definitely.
work, and it's not just work as in professional paid work, but like student work, right? uh,
Definitely. I'm appearing for CAT, so I have to give one to
yeah,
two
so
hours a
so
day.
when you think of chunking, you should consider like study is work right now for you. Like
Yeah, yeah,
that's what your
yeah,
purpose as a student is to study, no matter how much we hate
yeah.
conventional education now, modules, etc.
Fair enough.
I mean, I feel like you'll have a lot to say.
I do. I actually do because uh, when you were saying Kina, you can meet up with a lot of clients. You can take the work, but execution clear time hona chahiye, and you only have like 24 hours a day. It's not like a long bandwidth for all the things that come through. So like say yesterday, so me and SG, what we are doing is that we just are having a daily conversation in the morning, right? And we had two calls starting this week, but we couldn't meet because the day before because I was not available, and today because he was not available, and tomorrow again I can't do the call because मेरे को I have a commitment which I can't avoid. मेरे को जाना ही है, like the registration thing, like I again have to say no to him because, and I don't like saying no to him because it's a nice talk. It's something that you learn from, right? And I have to plan my day accordingly. I have to plan my work accordingly. I have a lot to execute in the day, and I don't know when I'm gonna like come back and execute the whole day, that client ka kaam and all. So my execution period happens like is very uncertain, to say to be very honest. like it's just suddenly I'll be like in my focus area and something else needs undivided attention, like I really have to be there. And then I have to split my day to come back, and sometimes I cook, and then sometimes I have to like eat, and then again I have to go back to work, and then I have to focus on the client, but there's some meeting that I can't say no to, like Prak said. So there is that, and again you come back and you again have to sort out dinner. So these tiny tiny things, it affects a lot in your span of day. So your execution, the management point of view, the maker, it it really like there's a lot of things to get organized into. And in this, like, you have to prioritize yourself also sometimes, right? And that really, I don't know if I am not able to do, or if actually things are stopping me from going there. But like you said, you have to do exercise to feel energetic. Like I haven't started working out yet, I haven't started eating healthy, but I want to, but I'm not able to. Which I can wake up really early in the morning, I can do, but I sleep late, I wake up like in this time.
You are
So
also married, and
yeah,
that I
exactly.
think brings a
My
whole
undivided
different.
attention means that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Like there's so much. But is there any part, like I was thinking for myself, right? And I think I'm far better, like in a better position to control my time than at least
correct,
present company, right? Because I'm single. I live at my parents' house. They do a bunch of the most of the things that are like the emotional labor of managing a home is
correct,
done by them, right? I have very limited responsibility, and that also is a choice only when
correct.
I have time, etc. But there are other things that creep up, right? Where my mother will just walk into the room and say, "Hey, I saw this sari for the wedding," and that
Yes.
sense of boundary
Oh,
is not there, which is also like would have been there if I was better at managing, saying, "Okay, you know what, 6 to 8 is going to be mom time. Hi, AK is going to be mom time." And yes, we're doing PG, and we're just going around the room about how this kind of applies to our lives. What are the things that we have to do, and what are the, like, we're just contextualizing article to our this lives.
I am still out. I might or might not be able to stay for very long. I'm
That's
really
okay.
sorry, but
That's
this
okay.
came in extended.
That's
I
okay.
will have a watch the video after
This is
complete
live
the thoughts.
example of your maker manager schedule.
Yeah, that maker manager thing. This was
She's
the
on
manager time and
manager's.
maker is happening.
Yeah. No, you're on manager
But yeah.
routine, but maker is needed. So yeah, so stuff like this, right? Like a meeting spills over. My mom comes in at least 40 times in my room saying, "How's the sari? How's the salwar kameez? Should we go shop for that?" And sometimes my bhabhi will call me and say, I was thinking of this and that, and I don't want to say no. Today my cousin called me saying, "Hey, 4 people called me fat in the last 4 days," and I felt really bad about it, and I don't know how to, like, what do I do? Like, you've lost weight and your brother's lost weight and everybody's losing weight, I'm gaining it, and I don't know what to do. And she was in a really bad place, right? So there's a lot of like emotional energy that goes,
exactly.
like,
I was coming to say, not to cut you off, but I was coming to say a lot of emotional, a lot of mental health, mental,
yeah,
like, space goes off when
right,
something really comes up.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, like, that's it's the schedule so much is there, but the mind is not so much there. And हाँ ठीक है
Bye, AK.
भाई के uh and the way I've learned to manage it is find a space where you can block people out. If sometimes that means going to a cafe, which I know will not get crowded and which I know I'll not bump into people. Like Versova, Starbucks, bad idea. I'm definitely going to meet someone I know, AK or SG or somebody from the area, right? But if I go to a discreet place in Malad for 4 hours and I choose to just do work, then I do work because it's a unfamiliar place. I have nobody to like say hi to. WeWork was a good place for a while. I used to get done work done because I used to pay 800 rupees a day, and I feel like, okay, you know what? If I'm paying, I should like be able to at least make 8,000 rupees from today, right?
Correct.
To kind of justify the cost. But then WeWork, I got way too many, like I got way too friendly with people. Um, and this is where Aditya, I don't agree with you that you should be friends. You should be able to be friends with the people you work with because I think that's a very bad thing for your time. Jokes apart, like I got really friendly with the people that we work, and then again I used to like not go to WeWork on the days I needed quiet time. So it is an imperfect method, And the second piece, I think, and what happens is like what AK is doing, right? Her meeting spilled over, so essentially one chunk of a day is unplanned, right? And typically what happens is when one chunk goes bad, you kind of the whole day goes bad. You just say, okay, I'll start afresh tomorrow, right? Like I'll just sleep this off. When you have a headache, I have a throbbing headache right now. Like I took a dolo to come to this meeting. And the urge is, you know what, I'm just going to sleep it off and start tomorrow. I'm not going to do any pending work because your mind thinks, अच्छा एक ही घंटा है ना, तो 10 काम तो होने नहीं वाले, तो why should we do one also? 10 काम की लिस्ट थी, उसमें से आज एक ही होगा because you're unwell or you're busy or someone's taking your time. So why that one also, right? So your mind thinks like that. And what I realized when I was studying this maker manager thing was a second article. Aditi, you raised your hand. Tell me.
Yeah, like I know how you're coming into the second article and how it solves that, but I would say about the thing that you said, na, okay, one thing get ruined and you just don't want to do anything. That like I'm pretty sure Prak knows this because I've talked to her about it, but Amina, like I think abhi se 3-4 mahine pehle, I was in a really, really bad mental space where like I was just not doing anything. Like my whole day was spent on my bed waiting for me to go home because it was a summer internship, so I didn't have to go class also. I just had to like stay in college for the sake of staying in college. And I was just like counting down days to go home so that I can refresh. And at that time I used to every day I used to be like chalo thoda kaam karenge, koi baat nahi if thoda nahi hota hai to. But then one part of the day that I planned used to fail, and then I used to be like nahi karna, bhad mein jaye, I just don't want to do it. And that's how like that 30-45 days went. And one of the darkest mental phase spaces that was. But now like I think why you learn from every small mistake that you do, that those 45 days they hurt me internally so much कि कुछ भी काम नहीं हुआ. And like I just started feeling bad about my own self. And then I came from a very refreshing vacation, a very lavish, very nice vacation with family, where I didn't have to lift a finger, where like my parents like ऐसे मुंह के सामने लाके खाना दिया, घुमाए आरवी में बैठा के पूरे टाइम. So obviously it gave a lot of mental space, बहुत freeness मिला, बहुत अच्छा लगा. And now like even yesterday, like I was at a phase कि नहीं हो रहा अब काम, like 8 o'clock के आसपास I'm like नहीं हो रहा काम, नहीं करना अभी, I'll just wake up for one. The plan was like if I were in that stage, what I would have done is lay down on my bed, scroll on Instagram for 2 hours and then sleep कि अभी 10 बज गया, अभी सो सकते हैं, it's an acceptable time to sleep. But then again, the smallest choices that we can make, I was like ठीक है नहीं बन रहा, let's go to the gym, let's just walk to the gym and I'll walk back if I don't want to go in. But then I went to the gym and then I saw a cute guy. And I'm like, okay, let's go inside. Then I went in, then I did a little bit of exercise. I didn't do much. I did like push day it was. So I did something, thoda. I did thoda treadmill, thoda cycle, this, that. Talk to that guy. Matlab, he's a college senior, he's a student council member. So वैसे भी student council members and college seniors, I have a history with them. So I like it, ठीक है, whatever. Let's just see. फिर मैं वापस आ गई and I'm like ठीक है अब सो जा, अब सो सकते हैं. But then I was feeling sweaty, so I'm like let me take a shower and then I'll sleep. मतलब rather than procrastinating that 2 घंटा with just scrolling on Instagram, I make this feel like I'm tooting my own horn, but I know this is a very big win for me to be able to get up from my bed and do something productive in place of just lying down. Then I took a shower and then I talked to my mom and then I was like ठीक है अभी 2 घंटा और जग के काम कर सकते हैं. So I worked थोड़ा और and then I slept at 12. But that sleeping at 12 and lying down at bed at 8, like these would have made like severe difference in my mental health आज सुबह. Now I didn't punish myself आज morning में कि वो काम नहीं किया. ठीक है यार 12 बजे थक गई थी, मैं सो गई. 12 बजे is late. So
Yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, you did you say something, Amna?
No, I just wanted to add a point where Aditi said ki if we can't be friends, I don't want to do business with you very late, I'm saying. But I was told ki ek baar na, even I was telling ki I want to do a business with a friend. But then I was just discussing random discussion, and then my husband said ki see, if you want to do business with your friend, you generally you people can't just keep quiet. No, you want to rant about someone to someone, right? And you and your friend are like really close. And then just with, if you are working and if you're like maybe say like 2 years into work and maybe you don't like a person, you're gonna like say this bitch did that, I don't like it. Like you just want to like, you hate that person, and at the same time the next day they're good to you, you're gonna like them, they'll be like, huh, it's okay, fine, it's a love hate relationship, it's a work relationship. But just imagine if that's your friend, you're gonna lose it for her. And even if you take, if you, even if you make boundaries, even if you create a boundary key, this is work relationship, you as your friend aside, and when you hang out even as a friend, you'll be like, huh, fuck work, we talk normally, you'd still have that something against her, like, come,
No,
huh? So you definitely cannot be friends with the person you're
that makes
working.
sense. But
Yeah,
I mean it in a different way. I don't mean
correct,
I want to do business with my friend if I'm in a work relationship with you.
Like that
But I
perfect work.
can't but I can't see myself being friends with you
correct, correct.
outside of it. I won't work with you. That's what I
Correct.
mean.
Correct. That also makes sense. I wanted to add to that also. You don't doesn't really have to
Mm.
be like a close friend. Even if like if like
Yeah.
me and Praka like friends, like work friends, we work really well. जब मिलते हैं तो अच्छा बात करते हैं, we work together very well. But suddenly we start a business, but then there's some kind of disconnect, and I don't want to lose that with Prak, right? Even if it is like a work friend. So sometimes you want to secure that kind of relationship, and you have to take a tough decision of saying like, no.
And honestly, this friendship and work, sorry, I have to, because I'm thinking that
Yeah.
friends probably are a big cost of time factor.
Yeah,
Maybe not working with them, but it's you can't live in silos. You can't say main apna kaam karungi and then meet you on my time always. Sometimes you have
correct,
to say, okay, I have to meet you on your time, right? Sometimes it's always a give and take, 50% at the very least, always equal, that okay, sometimes you keep your work aside. And friends, like I've realized, are such a big ask of my time. Plans on friends, cousins, they want to like go partying on Saturday, which means half my Sunday is gone.
yeah,
They want to meet me on Sunday evening, which means I stay in a further part of Mumbai, which means I'm traveling so 2 extra hours regardless of what the plan is. The plan could be a coffee, but I always spend 1 hour extra than them because it's further from my house. And I don't complain often because I also like those places more than my area. So it's a willing sacrifice I make, but still accounted for, right?
correct,
And these are things you can't tell your friends always. Some are receptive,
correct,
but some will just say, "Oh, you're always making an excuse." If you tell your friend, "I'm in the flow of my work and I don't want to break it," it depends. You have to find the friends who will respect that. Like, okay, you know what, right? Like right now, you're in the. They will not expect you to give it up always, right?
correct.
um but just to like segue into the second article for that is, and this was a live example, and this was something I learned very recently, only as I stepped into this whole world of how to manage your time, especially when you're doing like five different things, right? You are meeting SG for C4E level work, you're meeting some your clients for client work, and then you're doing the client work, right? At the very least you have three different variables. Likewise for me with P3, though, I have like 37 different variables because I'm meeting people for four different types of things, and then I'm making sure that those four different types of things are executed. And everyone you rely on is not always perfect. My team um, doesn't always do the job I need them to do, and it's not their fault because it's always changing as well, right? So there's too many things, and um, often one half of the day is just wasted in that tab switching, literal tab switching, because I'm like, my kya start karu? And what would happen until last week was my whole day would go waste because I'm like, subah hi bakwas hui, I had no agenda, so I had no like plan for the day, right? And then I saw the 4 quarter method, which is the second article I would linked to. In that, you divide your day, whatever you have, 16 waking hours, that may be from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Or 2 a.m. or 14 hours, whatever. You have a chunk of time that you're awake for, divided into 4 quarters, right? Equal, unequal, that you can decide. But you divide into 4 quarters and then use each quarter in such a way that one, it helps you reset from quarter to quarter. सुबह खराब गए, ठीक है, second quarter अच्छा जाएगा. Train your mind to think of each quarter as a fresh start. Ideally, you should do the prep work and all the energy boosting, like plan your meals, cook for the day, or set your agenda, work out, do all of your energy boosting prepping work in the first quarter. use the second quarter to do intense mindful work, because according to neuroscience, our brains are incredibly not just productive but accurate, between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. They did a in the in a follow up to the thread. uh, this guy, Scott's newsletter, I forgot what his full name is, but he writes about how people found that they made the best decisions between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. And they made the most accurate decisions between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. Our brains are that. After that, you may work a lot faster, but you somehow don't end up having a lot of efficient decision making. So 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. they say that you should have on this, focus work, this like where you're gonna like your decision making is going to have outcomes. The third is for cleanup. अगर for second quarter में कुछ नहीं हुआ तो close that. Closing loops basically, right? अगर कल का कुछ बाकी था तो वो थर्ड क्वार्टर में करो, फर्स्ट या सेकंड क्वार्टर में मत करो. कल का कुछ पेंडिंग था, अगर कुछ फॉलो अप करना है, और if you want to, just kind of I don't know, start a side project or have a side hustle or read something for the for in whatever your work related reading, जैसे growth session का reading होता है, don't do it in your first or second quarter, do it in the third quarter, which is work but it's not necessarily um, active working, right? And actually growth session reading is a bad example, but best example is spillover work from before. Backlog clearance, third quarter, and fourth quarter's unwind, right? You socialize, you read a book, you do readings like this, which may kind of be unwinding also, but also like tick something off your list, spend time with family, etc. Right? So what he says is that having these 4 quarters means you're training our brain to have 4 days in one day, not in terms of productivity, which those tech bros keep saying, no, like you're stacking days on top of each other for productivity, but actually for a very careful living through of the day, in which you say, okay, I have my work hours, I have my unwind hours, and I will try and chunk them as much as possible, and I will not let the mood of one affect the other. Suppose मेरा prep खराब गया, जैसे today I woke up 7 o'clock, I was not feeling too good, but I thought, ठीक, if I work out I will feel better. But my trainer said he's also not feeling good, so he said अब कल से करते हैं. So I got lazy. I was like, abhi I'm like, my awareness has gone to my sickness also, so I will not go do cardio. Then I did not eat very good breakfast because I was not feeling good. And that first 2 hours of the day were just like like very, very lazy. And earlier I know I would have just spent the whole day in bed. But this time I said, okay, you know what? I'm feeling better for now. I'm going to do as much work as I can for this time. When I was not feeling good, I picked up a book and read, because reading is part of my job. It was both unwinding and working. So I just read a book. I'm like, I had to read this book anyway. I'm not feeling good. Let me just read a book. I did the YC Combinator video that we are doing, Sam Altman ka. And I said, okay, let me watch that, because I've had to do it, but I've not had the mental energy to. Right now, I cannot work, but I can at least consume. Create nahi hoga, consume to hoga. And so that by 1 p.m. I was already in the zone to do the some of the work. So I sent some emails, did some scheduling, some cleaning, some. It was not a lot, very low, but kuch to hua, because I told myself the first half, okay, do what you can and don't let your bad morning spill over to the second quarter, right? So that really helped, I think. And yeah, I think that was a very, it's a good way for mental, because whenever you're context switching, mental resets are important. Whenever, because this is something Adisa also tells me. He's like, find neutral activities of 5 minutes that can fill chunks of your time. So if you have done a big amount of execution work, you're already very tired before you get into the second job, right? Especially like what you both of you saying, na, the emotional energy, the energy to do something is low. So find neutral 5 minute, 15-minute slots, and that neutral, I found looking at the fan is very nice. You do nothing, just stare at the fan. It resets my mind. It's a very new discovery. Apparently, people have been doing this for years. I don't know why I have not been told the secret hack of resting. But so you find a neutral activity and then you switch to the second quarter. So I thought that was very helpful in terms of when on days that you cannot control your maker manager and it has been messed up, don't let the mess up go beyond uh, that one quarter, right? Yeah, staring at the wall. Staring at the wall doesn't help because I don't know, I don't have very interesting walls. Maybe if I had a painting on the walls.
I mean, I think the whole point is like just if I had to stare out a wall, I'll stare at that one. That has almost everything that like I care about.
But that makes you think. I don't want to think.
Hmm.
Like neutral means your brain has to be
Hmm.
literally on rest. Like my brain,
Ah, fair enough.
yeah. So, but like it has to be like I think I don't know if it is staring. I think it has to be a thing like grass, right? It doesn't do anything.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Doesn't
Just
make you
coming.
think, but it is something that you can stare and feel like, हाँ कुछ तो हो रहा है. You don't have to
Okay,
think about it,
movement. Huh?
right? Like it's not words, it's not cognitive stimulation so much as some like it exists. Like I don't know.
Got it, got it, got
If
it.
you stare at like the way cats, right? Like they just I think being a cat is the ultimate mental reset ever. Because cats
I
just
wanna
sit,
be a
they
cat.
stare at you for 10 minutes. They don't
Yeah.
care. They just don't like whatever's going on in their minds must be whatever it is. But on the outside, they just stare at something very tangible, but very non-thought inducing, right? Um,
Hmm.
so that works. I had just recently found, I don't know.
I,
Um,
I I have realized कि staring at something green, staring at just plants, staring at like how Prakriti said grass. When you are just too worked out and you have to, or when you have to take your mind out of something, I just go and stand in front of the plants. I just go like put the mud properly, or I go and I see the flower if it is fine, and I don't know. I find peace there, and I really feel like my kind of reset is just going and just checking up on my plant, like, hey, how are you doing types. I actually talk like, hi, hello, how are you doing?
that is so cute.
Yes.
It's so good you've also identified a reset. Also
Yeah.
talking to plants, even like
Yeah.
Jar Saab has written, it's a very good like emotionally healthy exercise
Yeah, it
for
is
them
because
also.
yeah, it is. I have a book to read that plants, trees, nature communicates. There's a communication for nature that
Yeah.
happens, and I want to read about that. And like I said, again, have a management nahi ho raha hai, so I'm not able to, or I'm not finding time, or if I'm having time, I'm not
Sometimes
reading.
even reading that can be a reset, you know. Uh,
Correct.
at least I've realized with my fiction reading, often a reset is just reading like an Irfan interview, or I'm reading like 8 books right now. So I'll just read a chapter or two and I've reset because it's not work. Like, and I make sure I keep a non work book, like hobby book, right? A lot of books I'm reviewing, some books I'm reading on startups because I'm, starting a business at least, if not a startup. But I'll keep one book which is nothing to do with any of my product
Anything.
things. It's just a
Hmm.
passion. Like reading about Irfan really just brings a lot of like inspiration to me because I love reading about his story, his life as an actor, his approach to acting, etc. Right? Uh, and his just like journey as a artist. So that is unconnected to anything. It's just an emotional thing. Um, so I keep that. But reading, I mean, if the plant reading is an emotional healthy thing, then that could be a mental reset in itself also, I think.
Makes sense. I think I should do
Like
that.
yeah, reading for work maybe not because you're thinking of notes and you're thinking of how review karna hai to ye point include your brain is still active. But if you're just consuming like I read a lot of Haruki Murakami books for emotional
Oh,
catharsis, and when I'm reading him I'm just in this world, in his characters. I'm just emotionally experiencing them, but I'm not thinking so much as I'm feeling it. So that I think is
right.
a very important distinguisher where my mind is at rest, but other parts of me need not be. But yeah, I hope we can all, I don't know, I think, do you guys realize it has already been like 50 minutes?
I know,
Time flies when you're having fun.
meaningful conversation.
It really does. But yeah, I mean, that's all. I just wanted to introduce because all of us are also doing a lot of things. So if we can find to summarize, right, chunks of time, they're not a lot. You don't have to have 5 hours. You can have 1 good hour of work, and that would be mean a lot. Um, if we can get some control over our schedule in terms of blocking people out, saying, okay, in this 2 hours, nobody talk to me. Have that conversation with your family you're staying with or friends. Like some Sundays, I will deliberately tell people I have wedding work and I I know this is going online, so maybe I'll get it cut out. But I'll tell people I have wedding work because I just want to do my work, and there's no other excuse that they listen to. So I'll tell them it's wedding related work, or my brothers-in-laws are coming over. I make some excuse up, and then I'll just use that long chunk of time to finish my work, do my backlog, etc. Um, so yeah, but it's not a perfect system yet, but we'll get there.
Fair enough. I mean, uh, you have to sometimes just find some deal, some chunk of time. And I think now I'm understanding this is the first time that I have so much work that I have to sometimes sacrifice my social life. Like, कभी कभी friends के साथ कोई hangout, कोई dinner, कोई lunch छोड़ना पड़ता है, and it feels so bad because like one I have bad FOMO. Two, like I am very close to my friends. Like यहाँ पे in college there's no one else. But today only we were all playing Monopoly deal, and first of all I reached there with my laptop because I had to deliver something. I finished on that, and then 15 minutes after that I had the meeting to talk to the people. कि हो गया है, देखो, run them through what I've delivered. And then I had to get out and go into the Bagalwala room, do a meeting, and then the work was not satisfactory. Even I knew it was not satisfactory. So they were like, कि यार देखो, this तो नहीं चलेगा, this, that, redo it. And I know my friends in the next room are playing Monopoly deal, and I just want to be like, कि ठीक है यार, भाड़ में जाओ, नहीं चलेगा तो जा रही हूँ मैं खेलने. But I think now I'm realizing कि like, why you have go hard choices, easy life, easy
Yeah,
choices, hard life.
absolutely. Like yesterday, right? So I thought I was going to be on my period. So I told my cousins I won't be able to make it to the Ganesh Visarjan. And I
Hmm.
realized I'm not on my period. That was a false alarm. My choice was, do I now go to the Ganesh Surgeon or do I not chup chap work? Using having said this, right? And clearly I wanted to like dance and like have a good time, but I said I had it yesterday. All day I was out visiting Ganpati across the city. So today is not the day for that. So you have yes, your maker manager schedule will mean a hell lot of sacrifices. But even within those sacrifices, right, control can often be difficult. Uh,
Definitely.
so I think it's we all like learn through changing situations, but like I think cognition of it is important. Knowing you
Mm,
can always chunk your time.
I wanted to add, Aditi said she has fear of missing out. She like really needs to meet her friends. But I have to say ki I haven't met my friend in like think I'm big time pushing myself away from everyone. And the other thing is that my fear of my FOMO is like gone. Like मेरे को FOMO ही नहीं है. I was like
Why?
it's okay if I miss something. It's okay. I can catch up on it later. I've become that kind. I don't know why. Maybe like I think it might change. But I sometimes feel ki it's like a gift because you don't have to like put yourself through like then you have to be like, oh, I have to go here, I have to be here. Then I don't know. I feel like it's a blessing maybe for a while, and I think that's okay. But some choices are like I actually have cut out my friends. I have to meet my friend like months in a month, and we're not talking. I was this person who used to just text my friend, I'm just going to the kitchen, wait, or I'll video call and I'll be like, see this is happening. But right now I'm like completely I've shut her out. Like, and she's like, we I don't know what's happening with both of us. I know there's so much to catch up on, and I'm in that kind of a phase. So yeah, that maker manager schedule can be like a hell of a sacrifice that I understood.
Yeah.
I'll I'll say one thing though, like I've had this
Yeah.
discussion with sorry, Doctor saying something.
Please don't push friends away. uh,
Yeah. Huh.
find a time in your mind.
I know it's a mistake. I understand now. I realize it now that it's a mistake. And when she told ki, listen, I'm in this time in my life ki I might get married and things might be different for me, and I don't want to miss that part at all. Like I don't want to miss, and I felt it. It was so real. It was an emotional hit. It was, I don't know, it was like life badal raha kind of hit, and I really want to be a part of her. We have always stuck together, so I think no matter what we should be, and I am like I am gonna have to take a little different choices, but yeah, that way I have to like work on it.
I have realized one thing, like talking to my friends and everything. I think it's all about the big picture. Like I said this repeatedly over everywhere to everyone. Like I feel that at the end of the day, if you make me choose over my people versus a luxurious life, although I'm a sucker for the luxurious life, I want to do very, very big things. I want to do like extravagant things, not big, just extravagant things. But uske baad bhi I know that at the end of the day, if it comes at a cost of choosing it over my people, I will never do it. And I am not shaming anyone who will, because like I have a few close friends who are like, yeah, nahi, mujhe nahi farak padta itna. Like one of my very close friends, he like we have had this conversation, and it hurts every time he says that, because I know I will make time out for him, even if like that results in cost, like losing something or costing something here or at work or something like that. But if but he has repeatedly said कि यार मुझे नहीं फर्क पड़ता, मतलब I just can't care utna. He's like, I have other goals, I have other priorities, and in the bigger picture, if you want to make me choose, I'll always choose a life of better money, better work, maybe no work life balance over this. And I'm like, and I've realized that it all comes down to the bigger picture, that who values the bigger picture how. And I've stopped judging people for what their choices. Like I try my very best to, one, not feel hurt by it, two, not judge it. Kyuki ठीक है, all of us have got one life and everyone wants to do what they prioritize. But I've realized that for me, it's never going to be anything over my people. And that's why I take, like, yeah, I think it hurts a little more. But yeah, I think that priority really.
We should all, just to leave everybody, there is a scene in Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 7 or 8 where Gina Linetti becomes really big, and Jake starts to feel like she's being a terrible friend, and they have a talk, and she's like, I don't know, Jake, I don't want to like stop, my growth journey right now, because I'm finally doing the things I want to do, building um you know her business or her brand, whatever you want to call it. And then they talk it out, and I think that's just a good like note to end it on. So yeah, thank you. I think it was a really good discussion, even though it was just the three of us today.